All right, I certainly hope this is going to come out okay, considering the fact that I'm filming this in manual mode. I think it's in manual. It's crazy because it always looks so good prior to me hitting record, and then as soon as I hit record, boom, it just gets this weird red color, and I know the lighting in here is horrible. Anyways, this is not a film school video right here. So yesterday I just attended a class in an effort to get my contractor's license. I had mentioned this originally talking about, well, maybe I'll get a Class C contractor's license, then a B. And now at this point, I'm like, screw it. If I'm gonna go through the trouble, I might as well try to get the top dog license, a Class A. And here in the state of Virginia, I'm sure this is different from state to state. In fact, I'm quite certain it is. A Class A contractor's license means that you can do unlimited work per year. Now, do I honestly ever expect to be doing like millions of dollars in construction work for customers or anything? I don't honestly think so. I mean, I'm sure anybody would love to be able to do that, but that's not really my purpose for trying to get the contractor's license. I mean, ultimately, my purpose is just to help with the flip houses, to help myself. And who knows, maybe I could do some work eventually down the road. But when I shared with you guys about going to this class yesterday, I wasn't as informed as I am now in regards to what you have to do in the state of Virginia in order to become a Class B or a Class A contractor. A Class C is a totally different beast, and it's the lowest on the totem pole in terms of contractors. And to break it down real quick, a Class C can only do a job that's valued at a max of $10,000, and then per year they can only do, I think, $150,000 worth of work. A lot of people want to be a Class C contractor because it's so easy to become one. All you have to do is do the 8-hour mandatory class, take the business exam, and then you have to take the specialty exam as well. To be a Class B or Class A contractor, a B can do $120,000 per job up to $750,000 for a year, and then a Class A is unlimited. But the difference between the A and the B and also the C is the fact that with the A and the B, you not only have to take the 8-hour mandatory class, you have to take the business exam, then you have to apply and show a net worth of either $15,000 if you're applying for the B or $45,000 if you're applying for an A, and they've made it a lot easier to do that with the ability to go get a surety bond, which you can get from an insurance company, they say, to be basically insured for $50,000. And that will count as the net worth, and that will cost you, they mentioned, between $600 and $800. I've got no other knowledge of that except for what I learned from the class. But also, when you become, when you're applying to be a B or an A contractor, in relation to the business exam, for Class C, all you have to do is pass the first part. And there's 3 parts to this exam. For Class B, you've got to pass the first part and the second part of the business exam. And for Class A, you've got to pass all 3 parts. And part 3 is supposed to be, well, the real tricky part. And I'm going to try to share as much information with you guys as I learned yesterday, and just share with you that I'm super excited to embark upon this journey. And also thank you guys so much for all the kind words and support, you know, as I'm attempting to do this. I really want to be able to do this. I think, you know, throughout my life, it had always been somewhat of a idea of mine. Man, it'd be great to be a contractor, man. Anyways, here I am at damn near 40 attempting to do this. As a Class B or an A, not only you got to do all those things that I just mentioned, and as a C, you have to do this as well. Once you do the business exam, and then you apply, and then you get approved to take the specialty exam, then you got to go take the specialty exam. Now, at first, all I wanted to do was home renovation, and that's referred to as a home improvement contractor, an HIC specialty. But I would learn yesterday that I didn't want to do the HIC anymore. I want to do an RBC, which is a residential building contractor, and that means that you can build new construction from the ground up. You can do it, but it's not why I'm going to do it, because I'm not getting this to try to go build new construction. That's not why I want to do this at all. Why I want to do it is because, one, it's an easier thing to do. It's an easier exam to take. And you only need to know how to do 3 of the specialties under a residential building contractor. And there's a boatload of specialties that they're able to do. but most importantly, it's the easier of the contracting specialties to acquire. Because when it comes to that specialty exam, it's 2 books, open book exam, versus the home improvement contractor, which is 12 books. And the reason why that one's 12 books is because that's a newer exam. The way that it was explained to me, it was a newer exam. And with these newer exams, these specialty courses got way more books because there's only one company that does the testing. And of course, they want to sell you a shit ton of books, and the books are super expensive. So that's where I want to begin this, and I hope I'm not getting too confusing with this. So I go into this thing yesterday, and I learned a hell of a lot. And I'm going to bounce around a lot, and maybe we'll revisit this topic if I'm not able to share everything that I want to be able to share with you guys in this particular video. But I want to teach you guys as much stuff as I've learned and maybe get somebody else excited about trying to do this for themselves. There were probably about 8 people in the first class that I went to yesterday, which was the 8-hour class. And then in the 4-hour study group, that was where the more professional individuals came in at. And there was only like maybe 5 or 6 of us in that class. The teacher of this class was probably one of the nicest dudes that I've ever met. A guy who's super passionate about trying to teach people and to get them prepared to take the contractor's exam. And one thing that he shared with me that I absolutely agree with, he said to us, he said, you know, you guys are trying to do something that you are forever going to carry a stigma around being. He's like, you know how bad contractors are looked at? They're considered scam artists. They're considered, you know, unreliable. They're considered, you know, just all the things. And look at the experience that I've had dealing with contractors. Now I'm going to be one, or at least I'm going to try to be one. But sharing that, I want to go to this point real quick and share with you guys about the testing, whether it's the business exam, whether it's the specialty exam. And let me say something else. I've only been talking about home improvement contracting and residential building contracting, HIC, RBC. There's over 40 specialty classifications that you can apply to be, and they just made a new one. Damn it, I don't remember. I've got all this information. I'm going to share some of this information with you guys. Damn it. Where would it be at? It's right here. Boy, Joe was paying attention yesterday. I was able to find this. So basically, there's a whole section in one of these little books that they gave me that breaks down all of the specialties, right? And I want to share with you guys a new one that just came to be. And wouldn't this be an interesting specialty? Bear with me, lighting, to have. And that is drug lab remediation contracting. You can literally have a specialty as a contractor for getting rid of meth labs. Means the service that provides for the cleanup, treatment, containment, and removal of hazardous substances at or in a property formerly used to manufacture methamphetamine or other drugs, and may include demolition and disposal of structures or other property. No other classification or specialty provides for this function. Really crazy. And while I'm on the topic of specialties that you can have on your classification, if you think that the 12 books that you need for the HIC is a lot, the teacher would share with us a classification known as highway heavy. And I had no idea what this meant when I heard it. I thought it meant like an over-the-road trucker, but highway heavy means those individuals whose contracts include construction, repair, improvement, or demolition of the following: bridges, dams, drainage systems, foundations, parking lots, anything dealing with the roads, basically. That exam is 20 plus books. That's crazy. All right, but sharing that with you guys, let me share this. So there is only one facility, one company that does the testing here in the state of Virginia, and it may be in other states as well. This is a nationwide company, and they're called PSI. Now, you guys may remember back when I was doing the Bobo and we were toying around with becoming a contractor, I was taking those little practice exams. Well, PSI has those practice exams as well, and they charge you $20 to take their real deal practice exams. The teacher would tell us yesterday, don't even worry about those practice exams because they're not going to tell you they're not giving you any questions that are even remotely on the test. In fact, they try to give you these way harder questions for some reason, and he didn't know why they did that. But he gave us a bunch of practice test stuff, and maybe I'll share some questions with you guys in this if we can get through this quickly enough. But anyways, this company is called PSI, And they are the testing facility, not only for your business exam and for your specialty exam, but if you're into real estate or barber school, if you got to go take an exam or a test for any sort of certification or classification or specialty, you're doing it at one of these PSI testing facility sites, testing site facilities. And man, this dude was telling us that their security is so tight, you can't have no phone. He said this joint's worse than going to a prison or TSA or going into a jail or some shit. He said their security's real tough. And it's timed tests. And if I move on to the business exam prep, I don't want to give away this dude's class that he charges people to go to. But what I will tell you is, if you are in the state of Virginia and you want to get your contractors class, I will recommend this dude's company. It's his own company. He does this. It's called AVAC, Contractor Education and Exam Prep. And the guy's name is Lion, who owns the company, who teaches the class. Interesting name, really nice dude, and well worth the money. It's $200 for the Contractor Education class, which is mandatory. $475 for the study group, which I don't know how else you go take the business exam, because he gives you the book. This is the book. He gives you this book. This is the book that you use for the open book test for the business exam. And it's all labeled, like every section is labeled right here. I'm losing focus trying to, there we go. Anyways, he gives you the book that you need for the thing. But I want to share with you guys part 1, part 2, part 3 of the exam. I'm only going to share with you guys the length. And in this practice or this preparation, he actually tells you how many questions relate to each section in the book that you need to study. And in the book that he gives you, it's all highlighted to where it's all highlighted the stuff that's going to be on the exam. Now, it's not going to be, as he referred to as, like spit back answers. Might not be word for word in some cases, and some of it is what they consider situational, or what's the word? Some of it is like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you're not going to be able to find the exact answer. You're going to have to like think about it and figure out how to figure out what the answer is based upon the information that's in the book. Theoretically, like in theory type of stuff. But let me share this with you that's really interesting. Part 1 of the exam is 24 questions, and you got 48 minutes to complete that. Part 2 of the exam is 50 questions. You got 100 minutes to complete that. Now, remember this. If you want to be a Class C contractor, all you need is that first section, which is 24 questions. Now, if you want to be a Class B, you need Section 1 and Section 2. And Section 2 is 50 questions, and you get 100 minutes to answer that. Section 3 is what they consider the advanced portion. And there's 24 questions on that, and you get 60 minutes to complete it. And let me tell you something. This advanced section, we were doing some, he's got all sorts of practice test questions in this book. And like some of this shit is just so annoying when you get it wrong, because you got to pay attention so closely. And mind you, we were doing all the math last night at 8 o'clock after already 11 plus hours in this class. So we were fried. I was still getting some of it right, but some of it I was having, I wasn't getting it. I wasn't getting it right at all. I'll give you a couple of examples of practice questions for Section 3. Section 3 pertains a lot to the math, the advanced portion on that test. What is the gross profit on a job that has a contract price of $60,000, labor cost of $12,000, material cost of $18,000, project overhead of $10,000, and company overhead of $13,000? What is the gross profit on that job? You guys leave a comment down below if you can figure out that problem. I'll let you know if you're right or you're wrong. And in the next video, we'll go over the answer. I'll do one more question. If an invoice of $7,346 is $210 net 30 and was dated January 1 and paid on January 6th, what is the correct payment amount? Yeah, folks, the math is something in this. I learned a hell of a lot yesterday, including horror stories. And man, I felt like I could I could share horror stories from doing the flip houses. But this guy shared horror stories. He talked about how to write a contract, how to write an official contract according to, what could get you in trouble or cause you to not get paid, I guess is the better way to put it. And this guy shared a couple of examples. And let me share these with you guys. Like in a contract, how you have to not only lay out everything to a T in terms of, I don't want to give anything away because it's not really for me to give away. This is this guy's business. I'm learning so much. But let me just share this with you guys. You got to lay out everything to a T. And if there is a change order of any kind, a change order is when something changes. For example, if the customer says, hey, let's go with this instead of that, change order. Now you need to revisit the contract and update it to say the least. But one thing that he mentioned was, he was like, even if you're doing something for free, you have got to stop everything that you're doing and put it in the contract. He's like, because if you do something for a customer for free and it's not listed in that contract, that customer doesn't have to pay you. And he shared a story that he had heard. He's heard many stories from many different contractors who have come through his class. He's been doing this for 15 years. But he shared a story about a marine contractor, a company that was building docks. And this was a $40,000 dock that they were building, where they were driving the pylons into the water and into the mud, to build this dock. But the customer specifically requested a specific way of driving these pylons down. And I guess that there's a few different ways that you can do this. Well, they reached the spot where they weren't able to do it the way that the customer had asked. Now, it doesn't mean that they weren't able to do it and do it correctly. They just had to do it a different way because they reached like some rock or something like that where they just couldn't get these pylons down. So they had to change the way that they were doing it for a couple of the pylons. Got the dock done. The dock was done perfectly fine. And as soon as they got done to get paid, the customer said, get off my property. You didn't do what I asked you to do. I'm not paying you a dime. And supposedly they were in court quite a bit behind this, but the contractor had no leg to stand on because of the fact that they didn't honor the contract. They went outside the parameters of the contract or outside the scope of how they were going to do the job or what they were going to do the job. And we heard a couple of other stories like that as well. The fact of the matter is, man, this is exciting. I'm super excited about all of this. Not even sure, it's ever going to even amount to anything. But it's always great to feel like it will, be hopeful that it will. And I'm just excited to get an opportunity to share this with you guys. So what's next for me in regards to all of this is I've got to study for this business exam. And I can register to go take this exam anytime that I want. The price for the exam is $40 for the first part, $70 for the second part, and $85. No, wait, I'm wrong. It's $40 to take one part of the exam, $70 to take two parts of the exam, and $85 to take all three parts. And the reason they do it like that is because if you fail any part of the exam, you don't have to take the whole thing again. You can take just one part and only pay the $40 to take the one part, even if it's the third part, which in some cases it is that third part that people fail and have to come back and take. And mind you, this is a 3.5-hour exam by the time you get done with all three parts. So by the time you get to the third part, the teacher said, a lot of dudes, their brain is fried. But I'm going to be studying. And the next little adventure in relation to all of this that I'm going to be taking you guys along with me for is going to take this exam. I wonder if I can get a spy cam, and I'm not even going to try to. That's not right. But yeah, and guess what? You get the results immediately upon completing the test, whether you passed or you failed. So I'm only going to study for a little bit because the guy said, he was like, look, you really only need to study for like a week. So it could be as early as next week. We're going to be going to take an exam, folks. I can't even remember the last time that I've done something like that. But I will definitely be excited to share this next leg of this journey with all of you. Hey, thank you so much again for all of the kind words, and I will look forward to keeping you guys updated on what's going on with old Contractor Joe and plenty of other stuff going on as well. And also, I can finally tell you the story about the mini mansion, and oh my God, am I so ready to share with you guys the shit show that all of that almost turned into. And some other stuff as well. Have a great one, and I'll look forward to talking with you again real soon. Peace!